once I've given myself enough love that I know I'm not loving others at the expense of myself, and I've given the love to the people that support me and need love, then I always want to take whatever time I can to give love to the whole world or even the whole universe. Hi everybody. I wanted to share a technique I use for myself and that I teach my clients and anybody needing some help to feel more love and connection in the world and with themselves to have exactly that. You know, we're going through quite a transition in the world right now. There's lots of topsy-turvy activity, a lot of unfortunately lies and manipulation and greed and confusion and misdirection and smoke screens and isolation and things that really leave people feeling disconnected, stressed, chaotic, confused, isolated, alone, families having problems with violence from all the close contact, and a lot of pain amongst families because of different opinions on what is or isn't true or isn't or is safe to do or shouldn't be done. And I've, as you can imagine, having access to thousands of students worldwide and people knowing who I am, I get a lot of emails letting me know what's going on, and phone calls and text messages. And so one of the things that I do myself and teach people to do is practicing opening your heart. And one of the most common questions I get from people is, how do I love myself? How do I learn to love myself? And so sometimes, because of a lot of religious programming that puts us against our bodies and Christian programming that makes the body and sex and a lot of pleasure things that we love naturally and instinctually sinful, leads people to a situation where they don't really feel good about loving themselves. So when you have a situation like that, there's a few techniques that I've found very, very helpful. One is you can buy a plant. Find a plant that's really calls to you or that you feel a natural love for, and just care for the plant and have a friendship with it, a real deep, loving connection. Put it somewhere where it gets enough sunlight and water it and really nurture it, and spend time just talking to it, just like you'd talk to a friend. I stroke the leaves on my plants, I kiss them. I love giving them the best water that I can give them. I'll give them my top-notch drinking water, and I'll put healing stones in their pots. And I find that plant beings are very, very easy to have relationships, and they're really quite responsive. Another option is an animal. You know, just if you have a pet, like a cat or a dog or a bird or a turtle or a snake or whatever you might have or want, then you can practice really just sharing love with an animal or a pet like that. And what I do is I use those things as a basis for a person to become aware of what it feels like to give love and to feel love. You know, dogs and cats can be very, very loving. So you have these very safe relationships where there's not a lot of expectation other than just the needs of connection, food, water, and shelter and warmth. And what I do is, when people develop that sense of connection and that awareness of what love feels like, then I can say to them, okay, now just sit with your eyes closed and think of your plant and visualize your plant and how much love you have for it, and just pretend you're with your plant right now, or with your pet right now, or with your child, or somebody that really inspires love in you, and just visualize your heart like a rose opening to the sun and hold your intention and your focus on that plant, that pet, or that person, and send love to them. And I often couple that with breathing. So as I inhale, I say inside of myself, I breathe the love of God or the love of universe into myself. And then I visualize I'm exhaling through my heart chakra or my heart center. And so I call one of my favorite plants Mama Plant. So on the exhale, I think, I send you my love, Mama Plant. And I breathe the love of the divine into my being, and I give that love to Mama Plant. I breathe the love of the divine into my being, and I open my heart, and I give that love to Samson, our dog. Samson. And I just think of how nice it is to love him and hold him and get his kisses and play with him. And I breathe the love of God, which is unconditional, into my being. So you practice bringing unconditional love in, and I breathe it in through every pore in my body. And then I breathe out through my heart. I breathe it in. Fill your body, fill your belly. And then when you're ready, you just breathe the love of the divine in and then breathe it into yourself. As you exhale, I give that love back to myself. Breathe the love in and give it back to yourself as a gift of love. And then as you practice, you start feeling lighter. And you begin to notice that your energy field is becoming more concentrated with life force energy, or chi. And you can actually begin to palpably feel the energetic matrix of love that you're creating around yourself. And I often do healing for the world, where I just breathe unconditional love into my being. And I just send that love to all beings who need love at this time in their life. And that being, when I say all beings, I mean everything from the single-celled organisms to the plants, to the animal kingdom, to the fish, to the creatures, the crawlies, the flying birds and bees and insects, everything. I just know that the truth of love is that we're all connected, even though it doesn't look like it. It looks like the cameraman's sitting over there and I'm over here, but in reality, we're just expressions of the same being. Because if God is unconditional love, that means everybody comes from the same source. And that we're all the same thing looking at itself, playing this game of illusion without which we can't have love. If there's no one outside of you to love, then where does your love go? So the illusion of separation is what allows love to have currency and flow. So once I've given myself enough love that I know I'm not loving others at the expense of myself, and I've given the love to the people that support me and need love, then I always want to take whatever time I can to give love to the whole world or even the whole universe. So I just breathe unconditional love in. And I just visualize it radiating out of me as I exhale, like the sun sending its light in all directions. And you'll see even just a few minutes of that, it gets you quite blissed out. You really feel like you got some LSD without the LSD in you, and it's cheaper and easier and no side effects, and you can still drive a car. So it's a very simple but very important approach. So in summary, if you're having a hard time loving yourself, find any plant, animal, or even thing that you love. Maybe you have a favorite mirror that you put your makeup on with, or you have a car that you love, or music that you love, or a famous musician or actor or spiritual person like Eckhart Tolle or Thich Nhat Hanh, or someone that just inspires love in you. So you just practice breathing love in and sending it to that person, and visualize your heart like a flower opening, like a flashlight that gets brighter and brighter, and just shine your love into that person. And then you get to feel what it's like to have love moving through you. And then you can reach the point where you realize what love feels like, and that you can generate love, and that you do have love. And then you give yourself the gift of just recirculating that into yourself. And what helps me love myself is making a commitment to myself each day to do the best I can for all living beings, now and in the future, to make the world a better place for the kids, to do my best to help make people more aware of the importance of loving and supporting nature and not getting caught in all these corporate shenanigans and materialistic dead ends, and holding the intention of seeing the world as balanced and in harmony and in a state of beauty and connection. And you'll see that with just a few minutes each day, literally if you just spend 10 minutes doing that each day, you'll walk out the door to the same world that a few days ago seemed so dark, dreary, chaotic, and confused, and it'll actually feel and look and sound more connected. And when you see people having a hard time, or people do or say things to you that are unpleasant, you just recognize that that's a person who's doing the best they can with the life skills they have, the challenges they've been through, and who doesn't really know how to make love yet. And the more you learn to make love for yourself, the less needy you are in relationships, and the less likely you are to get yourself in trouble, because often people mix sex up with love and think that they're only getting loved when they're having sex, which can lead to sex addictions quite often. But once you start creating love inside of yourself, then you can sense the difference between making love and just having sex. And the quality of your relationships improves, the quality of your sex improves, the depth of connection improves. And whenever you make a gain in your capacity to feel and to generate love, you carry that into the world. And this is why a lot of the great spiritual teachers say the greatest teacher is the silent teacher, and the greatest lover is the silent lover. And what that means is that everybody's watching. Whenever you're really doing your best to live in love fully, everywhere you go, you broadcast that out into the world. You look different, you sound different, your posture's different, your facial expressions are different. People pick up on it, and they sense it, and they begin to emulate it. So we're always teaching love, and we're always teaching everywhere we go. So if you want to make the world a better place, just start right in the comfort of your own home and in the safety of your own body, and even start with your favorite stone or your favorite plant and work up from there. And you'll see that the more you practice making love, the more you have. And my final message is to remember, love is a boomerang. Whatever you put out always comes back. So if you practice making love every day, then before you know it, you'll see lots more love coming back to you. So let's all make love together.